Hey guys, it's April from Getting Her Go With It. Today I wanted to talk to you about the popular books that I just don't want to read. Now there are some books in here that I'm sure plenty of people absolutely adore. That's why they're so popular, but I just don't have any desire in me at all to pick them up. I hope you don't hate me after this. The first book that I really don't want to read is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. Now this book seems to be all over BookTube right now, and it seems like everyone who's read it absolutely loves it. That is wonderful for them, but I actually did pick this up and I read about, I think I got 50 pages into it, and I could not get into it. This is meant to follow the story of two girls and their friendship over the course of their lives. So this is just the first book in a series, and this one follows their childhood. And I just could not get into either of the characters. I didn't like any of the characters, and I want to root for people that I'm reading about. And it sounds like throughout this series, these two girls have a very difficult and strained friendship, and they're not always kind to each other, and I just could not get into it anymore. So this was something I DNF'd, and I don't regret it at all. The next book that I really don't want to pick up at all is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Now this is a classic, so there is that part of me that feels a little bit bad for not wanting to read this. It's about a married woman, Anna Karenina, who has an affair with a count, I think, and it's about their love affair, and it's doomed, of course, and it's just something that doesn't interest me. I don't know if it's the fact that it's an affair that I'm not really drawn to, although I just finished reading Tulip Fever and that was in there. So I don't know what it is about Anna Karenina that I don't feel like reading. It might be how big it is and the fact that I don't want to spend that much time reading about adultery. Maybe for you. This book was so enormously big. Just a couple of years ago, this was everywhere. It was turned into a movie, and I've actually been recommended to read this by plenty of people, and I just don't want to. This follows a young man who I believe had a motorcycle accident, and he was paralyzed, and he is now being taken care of by this girl. And I don't know the names of anybody in this, but they, I guess, fall in love. I have heard that the representation of disability in this book is problematic, and that kind of puts me off of reading this. But also, I know that it's a romance, and I don't really reach for romances. I do love a good Jane Austen, but she's poking fun of a lot of this stuff throughout it, so it's just not a book that I want to read. I might watch the movie, but I think like a 2-hour time commitment is all I could do for this type of storyline. The next book I don't want to read is The Time Traveler's Wife. Now, I read this author's other book, Her Fearful Symmetry, and I really liked that. There's a lot of magical realism in her books, and in this book, The Time Traveler's Wife, I guess the idea is that there's a couple who he time travels, but they're in love somehow. So she meets him when she's a little girl and he's like 36 or something, and then he can time travel but he doesn't have much say about it or something, and so they marry when she's like 26 and he's 31. I can't remember the details exactly, but I don't know if it's that it's a romance or the fact that this man meets this young girl and then they fall in love later. It's just too Silencio meets Renee for me. I don't really like that storyline at all. Like, that gives me the creeps. And I'm not always a huge big fan of time travel in my books for some reason. Okay, and the last book that I don't want to read is Outlander. This is another time travel book, and of course this is a series of books. So if you are into time travel, this might be right up your alley. But I think it follows a girl who, I think it's like 1930 something, and she's a nurse, and she happens to suddenly, I don't know if she walks into like a rock or a stone, or I don't know, but she walks into something, and that she's suddenly transported to like 1732 or 1700s Scotland, and she's just thrown into it, and she has to survive and figure out what to do. There's nothing about it that I want to read. I don't know if it is again about the time travel, but what's really good actually about doing videos like this is that you kind of see a theme of genres and themes to stay away from, which is handy. So romance for me is generally a no-no. Time travel, it seems to be a no-no. And also, I really need likable characters. I need to be rooting for someone. So, you know, friendships where they treat each other horribly doesn't work well with me. I don't know if this type of video was really of interest to you, but it has really helped me to kind of figure out what kinds of books just turn me off, so that I don't, you know, hear a lot of buzz about a book and then just try to chase it down just because there's so much buzz. Sometimes there's a lot of buzz because other people are attracted to certain elements of a book, and it's just not for you. And it doesn't have to be, and that's why, thank goodness, there are so many books published so regularly. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!